when we made Sanctuary, we decided to hang it on this story arc of purgation, the imagery of purgation, illumination, and the unitive way. Can you break that down just a little bit for people who want to understand healing as a journey?
Yeah. I want to use the example of this purgative, illuminative, and unitive way from the example of recovery from alcohol, from AA. But then we'll see how it applies then spiritually to all of us. Let's say at the beginning, the person who's in the grip of addiction, they're in a real dilemma. Because the thing that gets them through the day is what's destroying them. And they can't stop. So the purgation is the extremely painful situation of admitting how scary the situation is. And that's that willingness then to turn towards a power greater than themselves to restore them to sanity. Because if they don't, they're finished. But they don't know how to do that. So the album starts out, I don't know what to do. How do I start? Mm-hmm. And this is true of any trauma survivor. The trauma survivor knows that logically speaking, the abandonment or the incest or whatever it was is over. But they know whenever they hit a tripwire inside, they re-experience the trauma and they ritualistically reenact it. They're caught in a compromised ability to live in the present moment with clarity and groundedness and so on. But to admit that, and also to admit that how do you even go about starting to work with something like that? And so the purgative way, the purgation, is the challenging process of setting out on this journey. So, St. John of the Cross says, "O night lovelier than the dawn." That is the very night that in the beginning, was so excruciating, is the very night that has an unexpected beauty about it. Once you lean into it and start to experience it. And so the illuminative way then is this kind of unexpected sense that as painful as all this is, you're beginning to come upon within yourself an invincible preciousness that was not destroyed nor diminished by what happened to you. And in the beginning of the journey, that's exactly what the traumatized person isn't clear about. It's either where they think they are, what's wrong with them. And the density of their pain closes off experiential access to the invincible. And Thomas Merton says, "It is that in us that is not subject to the brutality of our own will, nor is it subject to the brutality of anybody else's will. It's that in us no one can do anything to." And so the illuminative way is we get the glimmers of something that matters very, very much, kind of shining out through all the broken edges and shards of the stuff we're going through. It's a qualitative shift in how we experience ourselves. And then as we keep going with that, the unitive way is where it unexpectedly opens out on kind of a blessedness. And the blessedness isn't just that by going through this, we're less symptomatic than we used to be, where we're less avoidant of intimacy, where we're less addictive. All that's important. But rather, the unitive way is that in the process, we got more than we bargained for. We kind of found something no one can ever take from us. And we're just immensely grateful for it. And so we look back at the learning curve that we went through. And as hard as it was, we can't express our gratitude that we did that. And then there's also then how we're committed to continue on with this. And also to share it with others. See, it takes one to know one. It takes one to know one. And how can I be someone in whose presence others are better able to get in touch with this, and so on. And so that's what I think the purgative, illuminative, and unitive way are about. They're drawn from the Christian mystical tradition of the dark night and so on. But it's really the depth dimension of the healing process.
So far I've come.